Good morning, everyone, and this is your Thursday thought for the day, or in fact, it's actually two Thursday thoughts for the day, or Thursday two thoughts for the day, because first of all, we're going to have a bit of a Christmas announcement from Joint Head of College, James Burgess, and then I'm going to speak to one of the people who left us at the end of last academic year. So first of all, over to you, James.
Good morning, everyone. With the festive period now here, despite these still bizarre and uncertain times, we want to ensure that the Shipley community still has that Christmas buzz as it always does as we enter the last few weeks of term. Trixie, Maddie, Kai and I wanted to have a whole college competition where everyone can get involved and contribute as much or as little as they please. Therefore, we want to set you all a challenge of the best decorated and festive house. In the last couple of days of term, we'll come round and we will judge which house is the best decorated, and we will announce and shout out the winner in the final assembly of term. So boarders, remember when you go home at the weekend to bring in some of your festive decorations for your house, and day boys, you arguably get a little bit of a head start and you can start bringing the decorations as of tomorrow. We look forward to seeing the festive decorations around your house in the coming weeks, and make sure you're the winner. Back to you, Headmaster.
Thank you, James, and please, everybody, embrace the Christmas spirit and bring in as much Christmas tat as you possibly can. Now, it goes without saying that it's been a tough year for everyone. It's been a very strange, mixed-up year at school. Lots of one-way systems, face coverings, bubbles, isolations, tests, things that never ever have happened in school before. But actually, more than anybody else, the year has been most challenging and most strange for the Year 13s that left in June. They didn't have the opportunity to sit their Year 13 exams. They also missed out on a summer term of leavers events and parties. And many of the leavers from June have also been plunged into very strange situations at their universities. So actually what we've done is we've got Maddie Simpson, who's joining us this morning, who left the school at the end of last year, is now an Old Viking. And we're just going to talk to Maddie. Maddie's done an article with the school website just about what, I suppose, the experiences have been like just when the first lockdown was announced, that whole transition over the summer, and also what university's been like. So first of all, Maddie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's really nice to see you. When lockdown sort of was first of all announced, and it happened very, very abruptly, how did you feel, and how did others feel that, when the Prime Minister announced that lockdown was going to happen and there wouldn't be any exams sat in May and June?
Well, I was completely gutted because I'd worked really hard pretty much the whole 2 years. So to kind of have that taken away from me in such a short space of time was quite heartbreaking in a way, because I was obviously going to leave the school early, going to leave Shipley early, and that was kind of a life that I wasn't ready to leave.
And the whole idea of not having because I remember we arranged a lunch in the OVR for that Year 13 and had a very, very quickly put together sort of leaver service in the chapel. Did it feel sort of leaving on that last day that it was goodbye, or do you think that there might be an opportunity to come back for some sort of farewell occasion?
I do really hope that we will have a proper goodbye and some sort of occasion and gathering together again. But it did feel very real when we were all sat in the OVR and we were saying goodbye, having our last meal. I didn't really like it very much, but it was a good last goodbye. Yeah.
Now, what happened? Just to explain, what happened next in terms of for you and the rest of the Year 13s in terms of studying from lockdown on, and then into where you are now?
So we initially started with our own subjects online, and this lasted, I think, till half term maybe. And then we did it was a curriculum where we prepared for university. So we went into groups with studying for our future subjects and what we were doing course-wise, and we were also looking at financial situations, how to save money, and cooking as well. We did online cooking with you actually, so it was actually quite beneficial, I thought, with all.
Great. And dare I ask, just in terms of results, how did you get on come the end of August?
I actually was very relieved with my results. I think I got a distinction star in the end. So I wasn't, unfortunately, was not one of those students that unluckily took the brunt of it all. But I know that people did get a lot of good results as well.
Terrific. Now, so tell us, you have gone off to university. Tell us where you are, what you're studying, and just what it's been like in the opening, I suppose, in the opening number of weeks and months.
So I'm at University of Surrey and I'm studying criminology. And it was quite a weird start because we had different dates to move in. And I was one of the later ones. So I came in on the Sunday, the 20th. And it was quite like no one was there. It was quite empty. And everyone was like in their rooms. You didn't really see anyone, not like normally where everyone would be all together. But I'm much online learning, so it's quite excluded. So you're kind of in your room quite a lot, which is not great. But the uni did do a few freshers events, socially distanced, of course, and sticking to the rules. And they changed it when the 10 p.m. curfew came out, which was quite good for us. And
what's the accommodation like in terms of, are you, do you have to socially distance from people? Are you sharing flats, or is it bed sits and en suites and shared toilet facilities? Do you have to socially distance from others around you? How does accommodation work under the current sort of regulations?
So they're quite relaxed with you in your own flat because that's kind of your bubble. I don't know how it is at other unis, but you are allowed to mingle with your own flatmates, and because we have a communal kitchen, we all tend to go in there and cook with each other sometimes and spend an evening in there. I have an ensuite, so I don't have to worry about sharing bathrooms and like showers. But I know that some people in flats do have that issue with someone who's isolating and they have to share a bathroom. They said it's quite difficult to work out that timing of when they can go. But we're fortunate in my block that we can actually social with people.
Okay, and what about security? Because again, I'm sort of hearing lots of, I think, sort of horror stories about students not being allowed to leave accommodation, or there being strict curfews. And how is that enforced? Does it feel as if you're living and studying in a fairly relaxed environment, or is it quite sort of draconian in terms of the rules that you've got to live by?
So through the day, it's relaxed. It's quite calm. No wardens are anywhere. But when you get to, I'm not too sure exactly what time in the evening, but you do get the wardens walking around, and you aren't allowed to mingle with other flats. So they are quite restrictive. I know one group got split up because there were more than a group of 6. And you do get the odd story of hearing people have been fined £200 in the other block. So it is definitely a lot stricter than I thought it would be. And it has gotten gradually stricter with lockdown since starting at uni. But I think hopefully it will get a bit better.
And I mean, this is, I suppose, the $1 million question. I've ex-pupils from the school that I was at before. I've heard from a few of them. They've all had it. They've all had coronavirus, and they've been sort of locked and isolated for that sort of 14 days. Have you had it? Has your bubble had it? Has there been a mass outbreak across the campus, or has it been a bit more normal?
So I've been fortunate at Surrey for it not to really affect us very much. I haven't had it personally yet, thank God. But we did have, so I'm home at the moment because actually I went back after a weekend of getting stuff here, and my flat, one of the guys started showing symptoms. So my parents were like, right, get out of there. We're not getting it. So we literally, it was a second of packing and get going. So, but I know that there has been a sudden rise in cases at Surrey. So I think, thank God I'm here now and not there.
That means then all your lectures are remote and online. Has there been any face-to-face stuff happening at all? And if there is that all with face coverings, or how does that happen?
So Surrey introduced a way of hybrid learning, they called it. And so online lectures are pre-recorded and they're available on the virtual learning environment. And they tended to be little videos and a mixture of activities as well. We had face-to-face seminars, which were 3 times a week. And they were awful. I'm so glad I'm remote learning now, because you had to wear a mask for the whole time. You had to sanitize your hands when you went into a building. You were all spaced out from everyone, so you couldn't really socialize with people in your course. And you also had to anti-back your table before you went, so there's always the wipes at the door. So if you forgot one of those, you got sent back, and it's just a nightmare.
It sounds just like Shiplake College, because everybody's having to wipe their desks afterwards and their seats and sanitize beforehand, and lots of very similar things. Now, I mean, one of the things I remember about you last year is that you loved your sport, and you were involved in all the teams, and you just loved getting involved in things. What's it been like in terms of sport at universities? It's one of the best parts of life at uni. How's that been organised, or has it just stopped?
It's difficult because the uni has such tough restrictions on like socially distancing and everything. So when we did sport, I tried out for hockey, and a week later they'd been told they couldn't run the club anymore because they weren't socially distancing. So I then went to trial for netball, and netball was a bit more difficult because there's so many rules in place from England netball. And netball is probably my strongest sport and one of the ones I enjoy the most. But it was good. They did try hard to have us all in. We had to queue outside, socially distance, wear our masks inside and when we're not playing. And there's also cameras watching us in the sports hall. So they actually record us and they watch us and make sure that we are actually socially distancing, which is quite restrictive. But I have also joined a gym, so we're going to see how that works out.
Yes, the gyms are one of the things that are being opened up, I think, from the 2nd of December, that people can get back to going to the gym. And what about sort of everybody talks about Freshers Week and the first couple of weeks of socialising. How have you been able to get to know people or socialise at all outside the bubble? Has that been possible?
So, as I said before, we had organised Freshers events, but they were all socially distanced and to stick with the government guidelines. So we had a karaoke night at the lake, and we had also like an Oktoberfest event and also an outdoor cinema. A few weeks before actually lockdown happened, they set up this marquee which had like tables all socially distanced to meet in groups of 6. So you could, if you found a group of 6, go and enjoy yourself at like one of these events, but it was restrictive in terms of you could not have more than 6. So you tended to socialise a lot more with your flat and people from your course when you could.
Brilliant. Okay, last question. So imagine that all of a sudden we do have a big vaccination program and everyone's vaccinated and COVID is no longer quite as much of a danger to people. We're back to normality. What's the first thing that you're going to do?
I think it'll either be I'm going to go straight on that first flight on a holiday, or I will go spend some time with the friends and family that I've not been able to see for the majority of the year. So I'll definitely enjoy my time as and when I can.
Brilliant. Maddie, thank you so much. And also just to reassure you, we had always hoped that we could have some sort of social event this term. When we didn't really, nobody knew that or thought that this term was going to be as disrupted. But hopefully we will get some sort of reunion or some sort of event for the year 13s that left last year to get everybody back together again and have a proper reunion as and when we can do that. So you can tell all your gang that the intention is that's still going to happen. Look, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's really interesting to hear about what life is like at uni, and well done you for getting on with it and just making things happen. It's we're very proud of you, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Okay, so everybody have a very nice Thursday and rest of the week.